right, Allison?
Okay, sorry.
Trying to be on time, Allison.
All right.
Glad you
That's
did
how
it.
you guys have already looked into this.
Well, we just want to start in.
Okay. Basically, what we've got to do tonight is make sure that the application is complete and that we're happy with everything that's going.
You read our ordinance, been through this before, right?
Yeah.
We did put together, some of the board members looked through it earlier, you could do with Kim, your attorney had, right?
Yeah.
Do we
So,
want to give him this?
well, I don't know, some of these may be addressed, but
Okay, okay.
Tommy, I don't know who wants to lead the pack here, David, go ahead, but we put together a list of some things that we're not clear about,
Okay.
and they're not in any great order.
All right, so this,
Well, first off, what we need to do is go through where's the ordinance?
I don't think there's a.
It was in
It
here.
was.
Oh, wait, Tommy's got one.
Yeah, but it might have got stuck in
Okay,
there.
like I had it in there.
Sorry.
So this is the section that we have to go through to verify
okay.
that he's met all the conditions. To go through that.
Does this need to be filled out?
Yes, but you're gonna start here.
Section 3.
Yep, and you're only gonna go to section 3C.
All right,
Okay, we
that's
don't
where we
do
messed up
4.
last time.
Last time you,
Yeah, okay.
But we're not signing this time.
No.
We have to have a public
No.
hearing and we have a.
right,
Right, okay.
so we're going through the ordinance right now.
Okay, so the first thing we need is a copy of the applicant's state conditional license and supporting documentation is submitted to the state licensing authority.
Right, and that should be. And you agree that that's that form, right?
Yeah, it should be the Highly Canico Retail 5.
That's right, LLC.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, you are 100% owner,
Yes.
and this is signed by the director of the Maine Office of Cannabis Policy, okay? So I would say that is here.
While we're, yeah, okay.
So there was one question about that arose is, I think all the other applications we processed had evidence of ownership of the company.
The
Like
formation.
formation document.
Formation documents of the
Or
LLC.
list of members, or what, this is a single member LLC?
Yes.
Do you have any documentation that shows that?
Oh, yeah, I could produce that easy enough.
Because we did have that in all, it showed that this isn't active.
Yeah,
Oh, I could provide that, I just didn't see that as a requirement in section 5, but I should be able to pull that up pretty quickly.
Sorry, David, go ahead.
Okay. Evidence of all state approvals or conditional approvals required to operate an adult-use marijuana retail store, including but not limited to a state license as defined by this ordinance or state adult license. Isn't that kind of contradicting number 1? Number 1 says that we have a conditional license, and then down here it says evidence of all state approvals and licenses.
Yeah, well, I think me, Kim, and Hannah have had a few rounds on that, because it doesn't make sense, because I can't get the health license or tobacco license from the state until there's something that they can come in and inspect and actually issue a license on.
Right, yeah, we talked about that.
And we
too.
have
Yeah.
we have an email here that supports that part of it. Right, Tommy? So right here it says, in regards to the application of Highland Cannabis Retail 5, whatever, this department has received the application and is currently in process. The final steps will take place, blah, blah, blah. But it says, without the property up and running, we will not be able to issue a license.
Okay.
So,
So number 2 is kind of a,
yeah.
Well, actually, that is the lab, like number 5 or 6 or whatever. That says all food and victualers license.
Yeah.
That's what
But
contradicts that statement.
it does.
Right. The state of Maine could not possibly have done a worse job.
Is that the thing that we were questioning, whether we needed the official plan of record, the facility plan?
Yeah, so
Is
we
that
have,
part of the state?
we do, we have a couple questions on that. One of them is that plan template, right? Don't we have the op?
This thing, the official plan, the facility plan that has the
Hours and.
hours and, well, no, it was.
They call it an official plan of record, facility plan, cannabis store.
Right.
We had it the other two. He's got a copy of it. We just, do you know what we're talking
The last
about?
2 pages in there.
In here?
Yeah, the bottom 2 pages that seems to, that's the one that lists the, like, adult use.
Oh, okay, the explanation.
Yeah. Does that,
Well, it talks about its own way, description of the applicant, yeah, we know that. This was addressed to the planning board, right?
yeah, I think so.
Tells where the property is. That brings up that other question at some point, right? You've entered into a LOI with Dennis Baker.
We actually have signed a lease with Dennis Baker.
You have it signed?
Yes,
We're gonna need a copy of that.
I can provide that
Because
as well.
that is required specifically. It says specifically we have to have proof of property use, entitlement, possession, lease,
No,
whatever.
that should have been in the original planning board application, signed lease, because we provided that in the initial round.
Yeah, we've got your
We don't
statements.
have the.
Yeah, we don't have the planning board stuff.
yet.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, I've notified I didn't have to bring any supporting documents, so I didn't bring any supporting documents, but the signed lease is in the planning board application.
okay. Debbie, do you know anything about that?
It probably is, it was a very complete packet.
Yeah.
But
So where
I-
is that
Huh?
now? Where is that now?
Planning board members have it, I would think the CEO might have it.
Okay.
Well, Greg was
Well,
on vacation last week,
yeah.
so he said he was gonna put together something to, let me
Sounds
know,
like we might.
but I have
one
nothing.
for that.
I was given nothing.
And Chris doesn't have, well, we don't know if Chris does.
No, Chris doesn't have anything.
Did you give a copy, Jan, to Chris, the CEO?
I did.
Okay, so,
okay.
A copy of the site plan?
of the planning board packet.
Oh,
Which includes the lease, sounds like.
All right, we'll make a note, just so that we're, for our, or somebody anyway,
It sounds like that might explain why there's a bunch of other
stuff on this.
question marks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the planning board packet was like almost 40-something pages, I mean, it was.
Okay,
All
okay.
right.
That's,
That's kind of, because
You would
we're,
think it wouldn't be that hard.
what we have in your file is you have a proposed site plan, but we don't have any, and we know that it may not be signed, we know that it was approved, we have that confirmation, but we don't have the site plan. So there were 100 questions that we had, but.
Yeah, no, we have the site plan, the signed lease, all the supporting documentations, the background check, it was,
Okay.
so is the planning board using those filing cabinets down the cellar, or could it be right down in the cellar?
I doubt it.
No.
I don't know.
Okay, they're not using it.
Debbie seems pretty sure.
I tried to call Greg today, and he didn't answer.
Okay. All right, so we will assume that is here because it's in the planning board packet, okay? All right,
Including that operating plan template.
Yeah, is that something you'd have in there, the operating plan template? That was from the Office of Cannabis Policy.
oh God, if it's not in there,
It
it's
should.
something I could produce in about 20 minutes in front of my laptop.
Yeah, you have a copy, right, Tom? Or you show?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not rocket science.
No, it
Yeah.
shows hours
Oh,
about.
yeah, I'm
and
very familiar with that.
The other ones we had were all dated 2 or 3 months prior, I mean, they were dated before we got to it, so
Yeah.
we would want that.
Yeah, no, that's something that does exist and easily accessible.
Right.
all right, so we were on 2, so we're gonna go to 3. If not included in the applicant's state license application, an affidavit that identifies all owners, officers, members, managers, and partners of the applicant, their ownership interests, and their places of residence at the time of operations. Supporting documents, including not limited to the motor vehicle operator's license, motor vehicle registration, voter registration, or utility bills shall be provided. So,
We have a driver's license.
Right, we have a driver's license.
Right.
And that would be the organizing documents.
Right, I think that's where
Yeah.
it supports that.
I guess my
LLC.
question would be, are you gonna have a store manager? Or are you gonna run the store yourself?
We'll have a store manager.
Okay. It says here that we need, own officers, members, managers, and partners, we need,
So how does that work? If he adds people or personnel changes, is,
I think the definition, the intended definition of manager in that statement is not like an actual employee that works in there. It's probably someone that's in operations
I
or,
think it's an organizational.
yes.
okay, okay.
organization.
Okay.
all right.
So you could address that with that organization, yeah, right, that, if you have that formation thing.
Yeah.
That would help.
Okay, a release for each applicant and for each officer, owner, member, manager, or partner of the applicant seeking a license which allows the town of Woolwich or its officials to obtain criminal records and background information related to the individual.
He's provided a background check
Okay.
already, and
Yeah.
we talked, what was
I
your?
think that's okay, right?
Well, I think I read this as we would want to be able to, if we chose to, do the background check
Ourselves?
ourselves. So we would just need a release that says, it's okay for you to do a background check.
Yeah, and I don't think the town of Woolwich has such a document, so.
We don't. We don't. I said that earlier.
Yeah.
There's no documentation that we have for that.
Well, and we did the same, I mean,
The other two provided their own
right.
Yeah,
background
but,
checks,
so,
and we did not require that.
yeah, so and this is very current, the date's right there, January 24th.
Yeah, I sent them the link. and-
Yeah, so the question I would have is do we require this on, this is getting out of hand, but on renewal, do we do this every year? I can't remember.
Background checks?
Yeah,
I don't think it says anything in the ordinance about it.
okay, but does the release give us permission going, I mean, this is just something we need to
Going
talk about
forward?
internally, going forward, is the release there, so that 2 years from now, we say, you know, we think maybe something's up, and, no, I mean, I'm just asking.
We
I'm
could
not-
also just
I'm not
deny
gonna-
the renewal if we
No,
think
no.
something's up.
Oh, well, I'm kind of feeding off, what are you saying, is this a release that stays there forever, that, I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't think the town actually has
We
such
don't.
a document in
We
place.
don't.
But I will say at the state, I have to go through background checks every single year to renew my state
Okay,
application.
all right, okay, perfect, thank you.
We're done.
Okay, evidence of all land use approvals, conditional land use approvals required to locate, build, or operate the adult store. But not limited to building permit conditional, but that's again, the planning board.
Well, it is and it isn't, so I saw the email here where we saw the email where you reached out to Chris about a building permit.
Yeah,
But it looks like in your site plan, you're gonna be redoing the roof and some stuff?
well, potentially, until we can actually get into that unit and see what type of shape it's in. We conceptually would like to add some height to the unit out by the road. just
Yeah.
To give the building some symmetry, and also give us the ability to put some signage up there, but, I don't want to invest too much time and money into that building until I know I have my use, and then we'll get in there and pull permits and,
And then you get the permits then.
yeah,
Right, so this is what you wanna do, right?
in the perfect world, yes.
And so it's these new construction things and all this pointed, or whatever they are, whatever's out there
The
now.
only thing, conceptually, assuming the building is structurally sound, foundation, all that, we'd like to put a fake tower up, kind of like, I guess where the old doorway into the office is, to try to match the height of the high bay. But we want to capture the people coming northbound off the bridge and get their line of sight to go to that building, and we need a spot to put signage too. So we were hoping to kill two birds with one stone.
But depending on what you end up doing, right, if you want to do that, then you would come to and get a building permit. or
Oh, yeah, I
sign
mean, normally
permit.
you get approved for your use, and you pull permits to
Okay,
be in compliance with ordinances.
okay.
Okay. But real quickly though, the planning board approved that though, right? As a site, Debbie, as a site plan,
We didn't have super details on what that fake tower would
Okay.
exactly
I'm just
look like. I
trying to
mean,
make sure.
a drawing, but yeah. I mean, it's all contingent on permits, approving permits.
And you still have to get building permits.
Right.
Right, that's what I was
Subject to
talking
building
about,
permit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Subject to building permit.
And he wouldn't have to go through site plan again.
Okay.
Debbie, do you know if there was ever a site plan fee? Because I can't find anything on it.
I do not recall the planning board ever talking on any case about fees particularly. I mean, we leave that to the CEO. Is that something
There
that
was-
the board
there
should be
was
doing?
Anybody absent, we didn't have anybody at the time, because Farley's and Lindsay's paid that.
Yeah, just speaking on behalf of the board, I think we would love to see the planning board do that, Debbie. Because when you read about the fees, the planning board has the right to waive or lower or change.
Right.
So we talk about the CEO, but I really think you guys agree? I think it's really the planning board needs to evaluate that at the time and say, well, we're gonna do the $500 or $1,000, or we're gonna reduce it, or, right?
Isn't there a set fee for the marijuana anyway?
No, that's.
Site plan, yes, for marijuana, yes.
Well, no,
Site plan.
site plan's different than this
Okay.
fee.
Gotcha.
So the site plan's their fee.
Gotcha.
Our fee is so I'm just saying, it need to be, and it's true, the other two did show proof, they paid $500 each for their site plan.
I have no idea with that, I just need to be told by.
We're gonna charge you $500 for that.
I want you to realize that we had no CEO, and we've been without a two, we've been going and back and forth, so,
I was
yeah.
pleased,
and
just here to
Chris
check
is
boxes,
very
so-
new.
Yeah, it's nobody's fault, they're just,
I agree,
Yeah.
I think that the planning board needs.
well, just because in some
They do
cases.
it all the time.
Yeah, in some businesses, you guys have waived it, or people have waived it, and anyway, go ahead. All good, Debbie?
I made a note of it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so we happy with 5?
Yep.
Is
Move on
the,
to 6, evidence of all local approvals and conditional approvals required to operate a marijuana establishment, including any applicable food and victuals license. Well, we know we can't get those until, that's putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah, and to get operational with my actual state license, I need those in place before OCP will even allow me to operate
Right.
cannabis anyways.
And they're coming. Did you have a question, Tom?
well, going back to the permit, the building permits, I know that's, like you said, it might be sort of cart before the horse, but we had the concerns about that retaining wall. I know that it came up at the planning board meeting last month or whatever. Is that part of?
I don't know what your site, we never really saw the site plan, so we don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, technically, I lease the property, so, the physical structure is not my responsibility, to the letter of the law, but I do plan to rehab the property, and I was, chatting earlier that I would like to just get rid of that thing and maybe taper the lawn down to the sidewalk and get something that's a little more maintenance friendly, because, I don't think anyone likes looking at it.
Yeah,
It's only gonna get worse from
The
here on
retaining
out.
wall on the Old Rousick?
yeah, that's what you're
There's a
speaking
little
of,
one
right?
on that side.
Yeah, it's a wooden timber
The big
thing,
one on the
kind of
Yeah,
falling.
and part of that's actually in the town right away where the actual town road is, so I don't think I can physically put a barrier in the town right away anyway, so.
That's been kind of a problem that
Yeah.
happened, see, that's what happened, the fellow you're dealing with did that.
Dennis put that there so you'd have more room to park automobiles. I don't think this gentleman.
Yeah, maybe, I know that the septic is over there and where the dumpster is, maybe there's a small portion that has a retaining wall. But, depending on what the property or the ledge or lack thereof is, tapering that property down to the road and the sidewalk is a lot easier for maintenance and don't have to worry about it. And we removed that old oak tree yesterday that was on the corner there, that's gonna continue to fall apart. And I don't think that was helping the retaining wall down there anyways.
Oh, good point.
So you've spoken to him, or-
We had a conversation earlier, we met by chance. But anyway, yeah, I feel comfortable that he certainly knows how to do this. And as long as his word says he'll fix it. Like I said before, I want it on record, I just don't want this, I don't want this to become a problem that the town has to deal with. So anything you,
Well, I'd preferably like to get it out of the way sooner than
Yeah.
later, but,
Yeah,
technically
yeah.
I'm not responsible for it. My intention is to, make both those lots much more aesthetically pleasing.
because it is, I think you're right, it's definitely in the town's right away, and we don't know how that ever came to be years ago, but.
Yeah.
You mentioned signs earlier too. You met with the planning board, and I'm sure they've explained to you what we allow for signs, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you have to get a permit for that.
Oh, yeah, I'm well versed in these type of projects.
Okay, because we looked at,
Yeah,
we looked at your drawing, and
looks like there's 3. Are
you,
there 3?
you said there were 2, but then it looks like there's 3 in the drawing.
Well, as I recall, there's a square footage.
64 square feet max, yeah.
Yeah.
2, no more than 260, yeah.
Yeah.
But you state 2, but then it looks like the way you've done it here, if you do build this tower,
It's possibly there might be an error on the architectural prints, but, we want to at least have signage on 2 sides of the building for sure.
But you know you have to get a permit from the CEO.
Yeah.
Do all that.
I assure you, this is a very small project in my career of,
No, we just going through the,
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't do a ton of these, so bear with us.
we've done, this is the third
We
one.
do exactly 3 of them.
Yeah.
Thank goodness I'm not doing this.
Okay, and you're familiar with the license term and renewal, that sort of thing, you have to renew it every year, okay? Then on here,
Does that need to be filled out prior to the public hearing?
has to be filled out prior to public hearing, yes. Basically, we just need we need section 2 and 3 filled out on here before the public hearing. It basically telling, putting it in writing, the tax map, lot, where the building, who owns the building,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Yeah, some of that's here too.
What else you got, Jason?
Well, all I know is you're gonna give $500 for the site plan, you're gonna give us $1,000 before we schedule a public hearing.
okay?
Because that's what we require.
Yeah.
Marijuana, yeah.
Pardon me?
For the marijuana.
Yeah, the two, so you owe $1,500. What else we gotta talk
It
about?
looks like he's not missing as much as.
No, we put together a list, but without this
Yeah,
other.
I'm under the assumption all the supporting documents
Or the
are
site plan?
possessed by the town of Woolwich.
Yeah.
And if anything is missing, I'm gonna hopefully rely on you to let me know if there's something that's not there.
Yeah.
And I can provide that, tomorrow.
Yeah, the only other thing we had, which isn't listed, but the others had it, and we're just asking, but there was this Maine Revenue Authorization, Services Authorization, do you remember that?
I do.
We're just kind of asking.
Are you just looking for my state tax ID number?
Well,
No, it's a form.
it's a form, it was a one-page form, and we didn't bring it up with us, but,
And
we're actually asking
It
you.
was from Maine Revenue
Yeah,
Tax.
it said Maine Revenue Services Authorization.
Yeah,
Is it sales tax?
I can't,
might be,
I can't remember
but
exactly.
I
how it
know,
was.
I can go get
That could have been post.
it. I can go
That's
get it,
a-
but it was
we-
in both of the other apps.
Yeah, see, our trouble was we were trying to figure out what was post-submitted and what was pre-submitted.
Yeah.
So some have dates.
Maybe that-
Yeah, because, for me, doing the building permits, signing up the Maine Revenue Service is all premature until I get an approved use.
Okay, well then maybe
And then I
that's.
start going in and getting the secondary licenses, food establishment, tobacco, tax ID number, all that stuff.
Okay, maybe that's where we are with that one. Okay.
What is your time frame as far as, just curious, like, when would you like to be up and running?
June.
Really kind of ambitious.
Well, I have a fairly large team in place on my Brunswick project that,
Can you come here?
yes. The biggest challenge is contractor and timelines. And,
Okay.
I've had contractors busy for over a year now on the Brunswick project, so depending on what subs are going in there, I'd flex the other type of.
Hey, is this the Ruby Tuesdays? No.
No, I bought the Jane landscaping building about a year ago.
Oh, yeah, on the old back, yeah.
So I mean, that's a much larger project than. what we
Yeah,
have here.
well, it's isn't it manufacturing?
Cultivation and retail.
Yeah.
Where we spend a better portion of the year doing the outside site work and utility upgrades.
It's
And
blasting over there, yep.
we weren't allowed to blast, unfortunately, we had to chip it.
That's
Hammer
what
it,
it
yep.
is. Authorization to review and disclose.
Yeah.
But that's easily providable.
Okay.
Okay, so you know what we talked about then?
So you think that's pre,
Yeah, that would be after, 'cause I wouldn't even try to get a tax ID number unless I knew what it
I
was.
think
So
what
we
we're
don't
gonna
need
do,
that.
we're gonna get hold of Greg and see what.
Get a copy of that file,
Yeah,
yeah.
a copy of
Yeah,
that
and Chris may have it down there.
Well, I'll just have my attorney email it over to David, the planning board packet. That way we know it's gonna be delivered tomorrow.
You want to?
Yeah.
Yeah, send it, so this is what has to happen, I guess, right, David, if we're gonna figure out where we're gonna go with this, but if we did go forward, right, you've got to get a check over to her, and you gotta get this stuff to her, we need.
So the only thing that you're missing from me is a check.
$1,500 in this package needs to go to
assuming,
her.
yeah,
The
assuming-
plan, the site plan review.
That's right,
Which, I don't know why Chris didn't give me any of the information, because
yeah. How involved, I mean, I did talk to him the other day and told him we were kinda helping out here, so I don't know how involved.
Well, I can have a check here at open tomorrow, I mean, that's not a problem.
Okay. I don't think it's premature to try to pick a date for the
No,
public hearing.
so I don't think we should do that.
You wanna do it at the first select board meeting next month?
March 1st.
Is it the first? Yeah.
That was like February 1st, didn't it?
Yeah, that's the whole thing with the 28 days.
So March 1st, public
Yeah.
hearing at 6 o'clock.
An hour?
Yeah,
Oh,
we'll do
no.
public hearing
10
at
minutes?
6 o'clock,
Yeah.
and the select board meeting will start immediately after the public hearing.
Yeah. Okay.
Tom, the two we
It's
had.
like the last ones we've had, nobody showed
So
up.
6 o'clock?
6 o'clock,
Okay.
March 1st.
At 6 o'clock, oh,
Yeah.
For-
And I'll
David
reach
did-
out to Chris about the site plan. I don't know why he never gave me any of it. I don't know, it's weird.
He's gonna be up and running, but he'll kind of, can't do too much here.
No, right. So I guess I'd be comfortable making that motion. I know we have to vote, but I would move that determine the application complete with the
contingent on.
contingent upon the pending documents that you need to submit. And
As of now, I don't know of any documents I need to submit.
no, right, okay, so the check, the payment,
He doesn't
Yeah.
know that document, yeah, in other words, we're have to find them.
right, we gotta move it.
Yeah. And is that one check, two checks, and do I actually have to fill anything out or just drop a check off?
You can just drop a check off, that's fine.
Two,
And then I'll
one.
put one in
So
the.
the motion is
board.
that it's complete,
Yeah.
pending any documents that we need that are in the planning board file.
It-
Well, there was one document we needed, which was the organization.
Right, we definitely need that.
Or-
Yeah,
Organization.
that might be in the planning board.
Oh, you
packet,
think that's in the planning?
But if not, that's something I can produce
Okay.
first thing in the morning.
Right, so basically, yeah, spending that in the submission of the
Okay.
payment.
Okay,
And
So you can do one check for both.
yeah, I can split it up. That's fine.
okay, is there a second?
Yeah.
Okay. Those in favor? Okay. And motion to set a public hearing on March 1st at 6 o'clock.
So move it.
Second. Those in favor?
All right, so I owe Kim money and I'm waiting to see if I need to try to get more supporting documents.
We'll chase down the file wherever it is.
I'll send it over to Kim as a planning board packet in the morning.
If you can, yeah, you're not here next week.
I'm not here next week.
Are you here next week? Okay. What week are we? Monday's a holiday, right?
Monday's a holiday, I will be here Wednesday
Next week.
for the EMS fire budget.
Oh,
But
that's
all-
right.
not all
Right,
day.
Right, no, but
Not all
otherwise,
day.
we get this resolved this week, though.
Yeah, and then tomorrow I do have to leave at 12:30 to go to the sheriff's department.
Yep, right.
What'd you do?
I have to pick our new deputy.
She's getting
I'm on the interview process.
That is a line?
I am on the panel.
She's getting a tour of a jail cell, she's lying.
That's right.
Kim volunteered to be tased.
So yeah, so anytime before 12 tomorrow, if you want to drop off that check, and I'll speak with Chris at
When is the town open tomorrow?
9 o'clock.
All right, I will have the check and any supporting documents requested over 9 o'clock.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Okay.
Good luck.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business tonight is the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, February 1st.
Move they be approved as written.
Second?
Any corrections, additions, or deletions? There are none, those in favor? Minutes signed. Thank you. Selectmen's comments, Mr. Davis.
Tradition.
David could go.
We met with the Maine Connectivity Alliance, and have come to understand that the grant cycle for the broadband grants is going to be well into the summer. So it looks like our worries about the town meeting not being soon enough are no longer an issue. So that was good news. The Communications Committee met and wants to schedule a public information session the week of April 3rd, if we can swing it. I recently became aware from a Facebook post from Saginaw County EMA that for the town to be eligible to receive FEMA funds if there's a disaster, we need to take the training classes you get, fire and rescue already do this, but elected officials and the road commissioner
Yep.
need to take these FEMA classes.
Yeah, but I think what I saw though is if we've already taken them, we're all set.
Yeah, so I.
Oh, I've already taken
I'm
it.
new, I'm new to the party, so maybe this is
This is you, we've all taken
It's just
them.
me, okay.
Oh, we only do it once.
Did Jack take it?
He did.
Okay.
This is what, if I recall what it said is if you took it, you don't have to, it's nice to take it again, but you don't need
So, all
to.
right, so I'm just showing my
In a crisis, somebody else can charge
naivete
you.
about the history.
Yeah.
So, that's it.
Application fee.
That's it for me.
That's it? Allison?
All I was gonna say was I'm doing a history presentation this Saturday on behalf of the Woolwich Historical Society at the library on Woolwich summer camps, which is basically Luke Bay and Mary Meeting and along with some stuff on Chop Point. So, 10:30 at the library or Zoom.
Gail? Nothing? Jason?
Just a couple quick things. John knows I've been working on the heater. The heater's not installed yet, but they said today that hopefully next week, it'll be here Friday. We did have Larry Albert help out. And
You'll be here by July.
it's coming out of New Hampshire or something, but anyway, Kristen reached out the other day. I don't know if it was Kristen, Kim and I, or somebody else and I, but anyway, the bluff thing, the court date is coming right up. So we're getting its way to court.
On the
Yeah.
hearing?
Yeah.
Or the?
Yeah, the craning violation thing, yeah. And then the last thing I have was, we heard from Booth Bay Region surveyors, and they're getting very close to coming over here to do some survey work.
The George River?
Well, no, I think across
Oh,
the town's property, the road out here,
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We want to shoot the
Right.
church line
and then
and
across the boundaries.
the
right, okay, sorry.
Washington Road boundary, so we know exactly what we do. Okay? I have nothing. Public comments?
No, because I support Allison. Either come to the program at 10:30 at the library or sign up by Friday to watch it online.
You can actually sign up on Saturday morning too, I found out from 2 weeks ago, but yeah.
Okay? Road Commissioners report. Mr. Shaw?
I really have nothing, we're dancing in and out of winter. We're getting into spring mode with soft roads and so on. You have any complaints for us?
No, not at all.
We're doing all that we have to do to just keep going.
Is everything posted, Jack, or?
Yeah, they're
Yeah, okay.
all the roads are posted
As of Monday, yeah.
as of Monday.
And it wasn't the paper last night.
Yes, I saw it in the paper last night, so it's,
And we're gonna have to be quite strict with this. In the past years, it's always been, it's good old boy and, go if it's 29 degrees or whatever, but we can't afford to, we can't lose the pavement.
well, if you look at the temperature variations we've had this fall, I mean, it's gotta be hell on the roads.
Well, and what happens is they start out at, when the road is frozen at 28 degrees, which is not frozen. And then the next thing you know, it's 32 or 34 degrees, and the activity keeps on going. We can't have that. We're losing our roads, and we had quite a bout last year over Chop Point, and I will not do that again.
Okay.
I did get a thank you phone call from San Moore Road. That was a good improvement.
Good.
And the solar farm project?
Yeah, the solar farm project is somewhere out in cyberspace, but they're pushing to try to get some material and so on up there, and I have told Austin, the person of charge, in one part of the Supervision Act, that we can't tolerate that. So I don't know how long this is gonna be. I told him yesterday, probably fine in April.
All right, any questions for Jack? None? Thanks, Jack.
And I did talk to that gentleman about the fence down there, and I feel quite comfortable, he has the same interest we do.
Great.
Okay. Codes officers report, he sent us a list of the building permits he's issued. He says call volume remains high, calls range from permit health inspections, ordinance questions, abutters complaints, and possible violations. He's going to be looking into signs down to the land race building to see if they're over what they're allowed to have. Residence Valley Neck Road is built in addition 5 feet too close to the lot line. and a resident of Narrows has put in a foundation of structure that was permitted last year. The foundation is outside the shoreline setback, however, the amount of fill that will be needed around the foundation will extend into the shoreline. But also erosion control has not been properly utilized, and he's working on that. Okay.
While we're on that, do we want to talk about that email? Are we gonna, yeah, about the setback
The
possibility?
setback possibility. If you remember, a year or two ago, we talked with a gentleman that came in, he thought that we owned a part of a road over there that doesn't exist anymore, and we pretty much determined that the town didn't own it.
Right.
Now the neighbor on the other side says that he has built an addition on his house that is 5 feet too close to the setback. He's encroached into, not onto their property, but he's encroached into the setback by 5 feet. I think the best thing to do is we need to have a meeting with that gentleman and explain to him that if that is in fact true, he might want to have his own surveyor to check to make sure that if he has violated the setback, and if that's true, then we're going to have to enter in. I'm certainly not in favor of telling him he's got to tear the addition down, but I think we could enter in a consent agreement with him and settle
So,
it.
yeah, so put it back and put it in his court to, yeah, okay.
Right, I think the first thing he should do is have his own surveyor review he may not have to hire him to do an actual survey, he could just show him the neighbor's survey, and which I'm sure he has a copy of, or he can obtain a copy of it.
Right.
So, make sure that their measurements are correct, because, I mean, he could always dispute the survey, right? So,
Right.
I think it's a little early for the town to get involved.
Yeah, I agree.
And, once we determine if he is inside the setback, then we'll probably talk to him about a consent agreement.
Right.
So is,
I mean, if he was, if he was 15, 18 feet into the setback or something like that, then we might say.
2 feet from the line.
We might say, that's not a reasonable mistake, and you've got to correct it by moving the building, taking the building down, but 5 feet, I think it would be reasonable to enter in a consent agreement with him.
is the neighbor expecting any response from us at this point?
They would like us to respond.
I mean, can we just respond saying, this is what we decided to, this is what we're doing for now? Right, yeah.
Well, yeah, and so in that, do we invite them to a meeting before the meeting? Do we invite that person to the meeting before the meeting, and then it's a public meeting, and then they can come, the neighbor can
We have
come?
both sides come in.
Well, I'm
That's
just,
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
well, I'm just wondering
Yeah,
if we
both
just
sides.
respond to the neighbor saying, we got this information from Chris, via Chris. We've asked
Right.
and then leave it at that for right now, right? Or,
That's fine.
Yeah.
We can do that.
I can do that, I know where I can.
I would like to keep the town out of the neighbor dispute. I mean, if there is actually a violation of the building code, of the setback, then that's something the town's gonna deal with.
Right.
But as far as the neighbor dispute, we don't have a dog in that fight.
Yeah.
I'd
So
like to
maybe,
stay out of it.
I'm wondering if maybe, can you just tell us what this is what we.
Well, yeah, so I'm wondering if, this information's public, so can we just forward this email with information to the neighbor?
I
Right?
don't see why we
I think, and then say, what's your response to this, right?
Any, other than personnel records and general assistance, there's nothing in this building that is.
Wow.
not public
Okay.
knowledge.
Right, and so then we figure out what the response is and figure out how to deal with it. It's worth noting that the addition's only, a year or two old, right?
Right.
The permit. But the other things that were brought up, we found out from the surveyors that we don't own the road, right?
Right,
So
we don't own
I
the
don't
road.
see where
so
that has much to do with us.
As far as that, that's between him and the people on that side of the
Wasn't
building.
there also that piece behind?
It is, but that's not a town.
Right, but does she want, is she expecting us to address it, and what we say is, yeah, this isn't ours?
Yeah.
Well, as far as that strip of land that he owns behind the neighbor's house, she's disputing that he owns it. But I think the best thing for that gentleman to do is have his own survey
Right.
and determine if he owns that land.
Right.
then he might be able to swap some of that land, which is of no use to him at all, with Burr on that side and make his building legal. I mean, there is more than one way to solve this. If the two neighbors can sit down and talk to each other.
Well, it almost seems like
Because he owns a 50-foot strip of land right behind her house,
Yeah.
all the way across the back of her property.
But it almost seems like the survey didn't go far enough. In other words, the information we got was more pertinent to
That
the
boundary.
adjoining line, right? A buddy line, if you will.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's not something you and I or you or any of
Right,
them.
I think the best thing to do is to have both parties survey their entire lots.
And agree to agree, or-
And then either agree to swap some land around or agree to disagree. But again, the only thing that the town should be involved in is whether or not there's a violation of the setback.
Well, then maybe we should just schedule a meeting, invite both of
I would send the email off to the
Okay,
to the
yeah.
person
See what
first.
happens.
See if Kim
If you
can
remember
Yeah.
when we had the dispute up off the Chops Crossroad there, and I invited everybody down hoping that we could facilitate a meeting.
Yeah.
It didn't go
Yeah,
very
I know,
well.
yeah,
So
yeah, okay.
I just assume avoid it as long as we can.
Okay.
Okay? So,
No,
all right.
good.
We were road commissioners, we done EMS director, Brian.
We were busy. In the last, since the last select board meeting, we did a total of 20 calls. 4 were transfers, the other 16 were 911 calls. So 4 transfers, 4 no transports, and 12 transports to the hospital. 1 went to Maine Med, 1 went to Miles, and 10 went to Midcoast. And we only used MC1 twice.
Are they all in town? In other words, when you say that?
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
all Woolwich, no, I'm just curious.
Yeah, I would tell you if we had one that was out of town.
Okay.
The only, not really significant, is we've got an outside or an inside group coming in to teach a advanced CPR type class. It's from Maryland, and a guy who lives, and he used to be on the department, moved up here, lives in Woolwich, but kind of has brought this program to me, and a couple of our staff went to the training that you will see on there to help teach this class, and so we're going to hold that in this wonderful room the last Sunday of the month. Will be our staff in here training on that, which is just it's not anything new, it's just a different viewpoint on how to do it and be more efficient with CPR. So we'll be working on that. And myself and one of our other CPR instructors are working with Sean on getting some CPR training scheduled for the department because we've done that in a few years. That's all I have.
What's the status of the ambulance that's out for repairs? Did we ever get that straightened out?
Yeah, everything's ordered, twice apart.
So they said that they will not warranty the.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna look into other garages that might be able to take a truck of that size and do repairs on it, other than taking it to the dealership.
Gail had a good idea. We might want to send out a request for proposals to several garages and see who can service not only that truck, but the fire truck.
Other stuff,
So
yeah.
just the actual truck portion of them, not the, I realize that the specialized portion has to go to either a fire company or EMS
Yeah.
provider, you know, but.
Yeah, I had a similar discussion with the former fire chief about doing that and maybe trying to set up some, when we need a truck worked on, we need it worked on yesterday, not a week down the road. And that was after we were waiting for some stuff to come in for some time. So maybe some sort of, in the agreement or the proposal is some sort of prioritization for our stuff when it comes in. We had that in my other job with Newcastle, when our stuff went to Newcastle. It doesn't go there anymore, it goes to a place in West Bath. And we kind of have a similar agreement there too, so maybe I'm 100% on board with that, and just maybe that.
I don't understand the whole warranty thing on this. I mean, my Ford truck had a 10-year warranty, and a 7-year warranty. And this truck's 3 years old, got 20,000 miles on it, no warranty. It must, I don't know if they call it a commercial vehicle or what, how they're getting around the warranty. But, you know, if the average person off the street went out and bought an E350 for a plumbing business, they'd get a 7-year warranty with it.
They told me 3 year, 36,000.
Right, what bothers us though is it was 3 years this month, right? 3 years this month, we
Of course it was.
when we took, now true, maybe the cab chassis was titled up, but nobody didn't go anywhere. We didn't pay for it till February, we worked out. But, oh well.
What is really scary is that a ball joint didn't last 20,000 miles.
Yeah, that's the more concerning thing to me is, and I haven't,
Yeah.
it's not something I'm gonna have time to do, but to go look back over the last 3 years and look at all the front end work that's had to be done on that truck, and it's not, in my opinion, acceptable that we're having to pay this over cost.
Both the ambulances, you think about it,
Rescue 2 is 19 years old. Be nice to her, she's old. Rescue 1 now is 3 years old, and that, we shouldn't be doing this, but.
Well, one thing, if they were putting in aftermarket ball joints, they would have a lifetime guarantee, or at least they did when I sold them. You know, I mean, we sold somebody a ball joint, that was it. As long as they owned the vehicle, we warranted that ball joint. We didn't warranty the labor, of course, but the ball joint itself was warranted. So, I don't know, it just seems like a,
Every other week there's something going wrong with one of the trucks. Yeah, I feel the same way.
okay, anything else?
Yeah, do we want to talk about this meeting next
Yeah.
Thursday?
Have you nailed down a time?
I have, Brian and I picked Thursday. I was thinking 6, you said you work until 5?
Yeah, I can get over here for 5, and I've been telling the fire chiefs
Oh.
that I'm supposed to do 5, but we can.
Okay,
I've
I've been vague. I said 5 or 6, so
Yeah.
5 works for
5's
you.
fine, yeah, let's
Okay.
get home to families,
Okay.
and, yeah,
So Thursday at 5, and then we're meeting with you next week.
next Wednesday.
Yeah, so Kim, I'll give you Walter Briggs from Arousik, Alan Moeller from Dresden, and Rich Donaldson from Georgetown. Have you found, I was gonna call, Alan Moeller suggested that I call Gerald Lilly for somebody from fire EMS.
President?
Yeah,
I've already got, yeah, Dresden Fire Chief.
okay, perfect. I can cross that off, I'm out of
Did
there.
you say Thursday or Tuesday?
Thursday, it was originally going to be
Okay,
Tuesday.
so I have a.
But then Wednesday we're meeting at, what time's Wednesday?
5 o'clock.
Wednesday, we're gonna do both your budgets at 5 o'clock.
And we need that, I'm gonna put something together in the event that good things don't happen on Thursday. But that is kind of tough right now, you know, I'm hoping that some sort of cooperation can happen. I'm looking for bright skies on Thursday, so it's a little tough, you know, to put something forth that I hope doesn't get used tonight, you know, something else.
I would suggest give us stuff without Thursday involved, and if we need to revisit it, we'll revisit it. I think that would be simple for you and simple for us.
Well, the other thing is, even if in a perfect world, if anything came out of Thursday, they would have to have their town's approval, right? Most of them. And that, I mean, that's in a perfect world. So depending on when town meetings, and, I mean, yeah, it's,
Well, yeah, that's the thing, ours is an April reference one,
yeah,
so,
yeah.
but great, yeah, Thursday.
So I was vague about, like, I said some words like, you know, brainstorming, some ideas and whatnot. I wasn't any more specific than that, is that?
Well, I don't think we need to be. I think we just need, at this point, we just want to see if somebody's got a better idea than we've got.
Right. So Kim, I'll send you Alan's phone number and Rich Johnson's phone number, and I can do Walter's. Okay. Send that tonight. Thank you.
Okay, anybody have any questions for Brian before we move on to Sean? Questions? No? All right, Sean?
10 calls this month so far. And Jason already answered my heat question.
It ends at 5.
I have a bill in front of me, well, a quote for our compressor. Compressor's been down, going on to 3 months almost now. They finally been able to get some answers. Give you the quote here, it's not building, so,
This is the one that does breathable air?
this is for the cascade machine, this is what runs the cascade, which fills our bottles, which fills everything on the truck, models of the trucks
Okay.
and the air packs. Their synopsis of it is, pressure gets to 2,500 and won't shut off, the compressor just keeps running. Bottle's supposed to be at 4,500, so it's not getting up to the right adequate pressure, and it's not running properly. They've come in 3 times, I think, or 2 times. Finally believe that they understand what the issue is with it. The problem is that the compressor is almost 20 years old, and it's a brand that nobody in the state of Maine supports. So Firetech's done us wonders. They've tracked down, it's called American Air Works, is who is going to get us parts for this. They've tracked down, it's a rebuild kit, as well as whatever fluids and testing it needs. All said and done, their quote was for $2,300 and change.
Put that in your budget?
I do, yep.
So this is a purchase order request?
And so I will counter on that. I also asked at the same time, I said, can you get me a quote on a new compressor? Looking down the road, it's a 19-year-old compressor, it's, pushing 20 years, which is, they tell me that's about 9 years past its life expectancy. So a new compressor within the same, specs as the one we have, that'll still work with our cascade machine, is $26,000 and change.
And why did you bring that up?
Just to give you something to compare it to.
We're looking at $23.97 a year.
Yeah. So that will get us fixed, hopefully. You notice on the bottom it says he still may need other parts. Again, this isn't, we're not 100%, but we're pretty sure that's what the issue is. That'll get us fixed. I just want to bring this up because this might be coming up at some point, another, the compressor replacement. We're going to keep patching it, but
This should go quite a while.
we don't have a lot of fire before, so we don't use it theoretically.
This is
a
the
lot.
air you breathe out of the tank, right?
Exactly. That compressor, he said that compressor's got really low hours on it, but that's the problem, it's just not.
Yeah.
So what kind of the compressor are they rebuilding?
It's something with the diaphragm on the inside of the compressor.
It's got an American Airworks rebuild kit. That's $650 to buy, right? Then you've got some parts, filter, lubricant, testing, labor. Labor is $1,200. You can get them here, it's $200.
I've got a diving compressor home, and you could get a really long hose that would take care of one guy.
Yeah?
I would move
I'd like to entertain a motion to grant a purchase order for $23.97.81 to fix the compressor.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor? All right, just give me a short. All right,
You all set with that, or do we all need to sign it?
no, I'll do this, it's fine.
That's all I have for that, business-wise. We're actively, like the friends, we're working on some training plans here in the near future and getting things up to snuff.
What's the status on the building doors? Have they shown up?
I have not, I will check, I have a lot on my list today, and actually I haven't got to that one yet, so
Same
I will.
schedule as the heater.
Probably coming from the same place.
Maybe, yeah, that's what I was
Probably
thinking.
waiting.
It's on the same truck.
Yeah.
Probably waiting for the heater to be fixed so they know they're gonna be warm.
Yeah.
Fixing the door.
Maybe I'll have Larry call for that.
I was kind of rough with Dead River today, and I said, geez, you guys told us a month ago, and it's always supply chain issues,
Oh, I
as
know.
we were, and I guess it
Has
was,
some
but it's just everything, today you send a deposit and whatever, we want to see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Real quickly, you said you talked to him about MMA risk?
No, I said that they will
When they
show
show
up.
Yeah,
Yes,
you
they
did
did,
show up.
and I gave them their phone number, your phone number, because they would like to speak with
They're
you.
gonna talk to you.
What they want to do is basically, because we toured the fire station and EMS, and they did notice that one of your shields is missing on your grinder. I said, I think that has been noted
When
already.
you might do away with it or not.
But what he wants to do is get a copy of the certified letter that we're getting from the Department of Labor, and that way they're not contradicting or gonna double, like, they're not double
That's nice.
dinging us for.
Yeah, I met the.
And I told them Wednesdays work good for you, basically.
I'd like to explain to me that you don't use the grinder.
Yeah, I told Glenn to get rid of it.
And I told you to get rid of
I
it?
told Glenn to get rid of it.
Okay.
This gentleman,
Just get it out of here.
I showed up in the end of it here, but this gentleman was very nice,
Yes.
very good. He said we do a very good job. Seemed like it was the fire extinguishers as always, right?
Yeah, fire extinguishers, he dinged us with those.
And,
So I said, well, Sean said they were gonna get inspected next week,
yep.
so,
But he did seem to indicate some of the things that we talked about from the labor thing, that
Yes.
some of it may be a little overreaching or not. And
Yep.
they wanna help with whatever and whatever. I mean, very, very nice gentleman to talk to, and then the only thing we learned was, everybody needs to know on the board, they want us to keep the doors closed in the back office.
yeah, my door and the other door.
Yeah, only allow people in, not,
And so yours is automatically locked?
Yes, so does the other one.
the other one is too.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, remember,
Well,
yeah.
if you remember, I've advocated that right along. I've always asked
Yeah.
people to keep your doors closed.
Well, he brought up this whole thing we saw on video the other day, and if the door is
Yeah, he was
open.
talking about that group,
Whatever it's called.
yeah,
Well, what happens is,
accountability for all.
yeah, like I said, if the door is open, it becomes a public space, it's hard to get, and Tommy, you've got some.
I went to a webinar that Bernstein Sure gave today about this, and I actually have a list of notes from that webinar about things we should consider doing, like posting some signs and just deciding on having a common policy about how to deal with these guys.
Yeah. Another thing that they did mention is there's a couple of trainings that the town office has to do, and one of them is fire extinguisher training, and they said that the fire chief would be a good, teacher. So-
Pull, aim, squeeze,
I
and
know,
slay.
Oh, we have to take a training for
Gotta
it,
have the gauge
so,
up first.
yeah. So the town office needs to be trained on fire extinguishers.
I want to be here to see
That.
that.
I know.
But David, all in all, it was very, very good though.
Yeah, he was very nice.
Yeah, but get that grinder out of here.
Yeah, I just,
Yeah, we've been digging on it.
If it's something you're not using,
I
get
just
rid of
texted
it.
Glenn, I said, make it go away.
Okay. Anything further for the chief? Okay, then we'll move on. Do the tree removal estimates first, and then we'll jump down and do the pole permit, then we'll come back up to the public safety committee. We have two, I managed to get two quotes on having the trees removed.
One's out by the parking lot?
This is the,
That's the ones, the big ash trees are all coming down, and they're gonna take all the trees from where they start, all the way over, they're gonna leave the three big pine trees on the back lawn out here, but everything else is going, okay? Anything that is used, that can be used for firewood is going to be cut 18 inches in length and delivered up to Shaw Construction, and I'll go up and stack it. And we're gonna use it, we're gonna offer it to anybody that needs heat in the winter that can burn wood. And we'll get probably several cords out of this. So, and again, you guys haven't got to put it indoors. I'd be glad to bring
Oh, no,
pallets
that
out
much.
and stack it alongside your salt shed on the
Spend the summer.
south side of your salt shed. I mean, anyways, I mean, I'd take it home and stack it, but I'm afraid everybody's saying, yeah, David's getting free firewood.
So,
Do you
yeah,
get many requests for, with heating assistance? Are many of them wood?
We have in the past, Dale and I, a year ago, I supplied the wood, Dale did the hauling,
Yeah.
to take wood to people.
Okay.
And I don't mind doing it once in a while, but I do buy my firewood, so, you know, I don't like giving away a cord of firewood everyone, right, you know, so.
Yeah, I thought we had municipal wood
This is,
in the past.
we did.
Okay.
this is similar to what the woodchucks down in
Right.
Hope Harbor do.
Right.
What I'd like to do is whenever there's a tree that comes down, the fire department notifies us where it is, I go cut the thing out.
We don't cut trees.
No. You get it out of.
You got a grinder, but you don't cut trees.
You get it, you get it out of the road.
Yeah.
And, you know, and at that point, we can pick it up and process it and have it give away to people.
Volunteers would do that, not town staff, right?
You'll be all volunteer. All volunteer.
I think you're looking at the
And,
sheet,
and
volunteer.
I've got your name on the volunteer list. But, no, we'll treat it just like we do our oil that we give away, you know, I mean, There are lots of times when I've gone out, fortunately, this winter I haven't gone out once. Last winter I only went out twice to start people's furnaces and everything, but you know, you get there, if the guy's got a wood stove, but they have no wood for it, it's a lot cheaper for us to give them some free wood that came down alongside the road than it is to, you know, buy. Anyways, getting back to this.
Thank you.
Okay, we have two bids here, two proposals. One is from Aaron Giroux, and he's $12,000. And one is from Hawks Tree Service at $9,000.
Both doing the same thing?
Both doing the same thing. I think the only difference is that Aaron said he would split the wood, and Hawks says they won't split the wood. They'll deliver it but not split it. But for the $3,000 difference, I can run a log splitter.
Oh, can I help you? I love running this thing.
What's that?
I wonder, can I help you?
It's almost amusing, isn't it?
I actually have a log splitter, but mine's electric. It would be a real long extension cord.
Let's do it. I'll help.
But I would say that the other thing is Hawks is gonna come in with a crane, and they're gonna pick the trees up one at a time and that sort of thing. So as much as I'd like to keep it in town, I think for $3,000, we kind of have to go with Hawks.
Yeah, I would recommend we don't necessarily vote on this tonight,
Okay?
as per se, so.
Does the storm might knock some
No,
over?
no, so we all know the deal, right? So this is all preparation work, because DOT will build that piece of road, and Ruth has said, and I talked to her the other day.
Well, that was gonna be my next
Yeah.
question. How confident are we that Ruth is gonna come through with money?
Well, we obviously have sent the surveyor some money, and when I met with her at the attorney's office in Brunswick the other day, I said, you know, because obviously the attorney's gonna charge us for that, and she said yes, but I think we need to really solidify that. She did say yes, and she's checked, but that's our understanding is this grant money will be paying for that, paying for the attorney work, paying for the survey,
Why don't
paying.
we authorize it pending
Yeah,
approval
Yeah.
of Ruth, because I don't know how long these quotes are good for.
right.
Yes, I got a request from, I believe it was Hawks, if we had a decision yet.
Yeah. Well, I'll make that motion, I mean, move to.
I mean, Aaron has already called me and asked me if we'd done anything with it, and you just said Hawks had called, so I think we need to at least approve it pending,
Yeah, I'll reach out to her tomorrow.
yeah.
And she said yes, as we've gone along, but,
And, you know, you can tell her it's $9,000.
well, what Kim and I's big question was, is when does reimbursement come? Like, if the town shells out a bunch of money, at what point does it come back? Or when do you need, or if we do, what are we gonna pay for it with? I don't, contingency.
We could actually use the building reserve account for this.
Right.
Okay, to, you know, to get them going, and then, you know, if Ruth says it's gonna be 3 months, I'd be more, or even 6 months, I'd be happy doing that. If
Right.
she says it's gonna be a year and a half before we see the money, then we gotta do something
Yeah,
different. But-
yeah, okay.
But a motion to approve this pending the funding from KELP.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, those in favor? Okay, and we will go with the $9,000.
What those people in
All right.
the business,
Um,
what do they give us for the
Let's do the CMP poll permit, because that's real quick, and then we'll come back to the Public Safety Committee. CMP wants to replace a pole, they're gonna take one down and remove 100 feet down the road and put up a new pole. It's on the Old Stage Road, also known as Old County Road, and it's pole number 704. I have no idea what pole number 704
You
is.
don't?
I don't.
Is there a map? They seem to be a little-
There is a map, there's the map. There's 704, and there's the new pole. You don't have any idea where that is?
Existing pole.
I never knew that the Old Stage Road was ever considered the Old County.
Oh, it
Road.
is, yeah, my electric bill says, oh, yeah, it does, yep.
Okay. Well, maybe this is the pole.
The electric
in front-
bills
maybe this is
call it
the-
that.
Maybe this is the pole in front of your house.
Oh,
then.
not.
But they're gonna move it 98, they're
cemetery says that.
they're gonna move it 98 feet down the road. The pole's what they're gonna do. But, you know, I mean, we, in all the years I've been doing this, we have never refused one of these, so.
You could ask them when they're gonna replace that one that's leaning on Walker Road.
Yeah, okay.
Ask them.
I move to approve the poll
Okay, is there a second? Those in favor?
Gotta keep power going, right?
CPs, bills.
My handwriting is even worse than normal, my thumb is split.
Oh, you signed that one, right?
Yeah, we have signed it.
All right.
Okay, all right. Kim, do you have anything else on the new business? Okay, then we'll go back up to Public Safety Advisory Committee discussion. Tom, I'll give you the floor. Tell us about your Public Safety Committee.
Well, the idea was originally Brian's idea that we have a citizen committee to basically act as a sounding board to vet or investigate ideas about public safety issues. So like if we have a problem with animals at large, we engage the public safety committees, like figure out a good idea for how to deal with this and get back to us or something. Or
You know what needs shotgun to buy or what?
with cribbing from a committee in I guess it was in Virginia or something, I found a model committee to create a charter out of, and their main mission was just to sort of examine ideas, report on methods to improve citizen safety and the well-being of the community. And secondarily, to be involved in developing the budget for the fire and rescue departments to basically help us sort of sort out all those, because that's sort of a heavy lift, is the fire and rescue budgets. So that was, and I think, and Brian, chime in here if you think that is in harmony with your original vision.
I'm going to play devil's advocate. My concern is that if this is going to be a standing committee, what always happens with these committees is when you first put it together, there's always a dozen people that just can't wait to serve. 5 years down the road, you can't find anybody to serve on the committee. So, I mean, if you look at our committee list now, there's very, very few committees that have full board. I mean, some of the real important ones, like the planning board, they have their members and everything, but the conservation committee has no one. We were looking at the list tonight, and that's what happened, and I don't know. What is this committee gonna do that the select board doesn't already do? We participate in the budget discussion, and we're always open to listen to any improvements that can be made in the system and everything, so chime in, guys.
Well, I kind of feel like this being an advisory committee, it would be a kind of a helper that we would call upon when we needed help. So it wouldn't necessarily be a committee that has a monthly meeting as much as it would be, we have this problem, let's activate this committee to help us sort out this problem.
So it'd be like the conservation committee where it meets as needed?
That's what I would imagine. I mean, what do you guys think?
The idea for this, and David, you actually brought this up, and then I kind of expanded on it, and that was back in October, November-ish. We had basically, I was saying, hey, we're going to do something, you guys know there's a large increase coming. Can we start talking about this and coming up with some ideas? And I remember mentioning before that you aren't, because you're very staunch on the fact that you don't think that the board can, or that the town of Woolwich can afford a full-time ambulance service, but the board isn't the deciding factor on that. Truly, it's the citizens. And so the idea behind this advisory committee was this group. So if I go in and say, hey, this is what I think, to this group, they got some buy-in and kind of doing their own research and can kind of temper down, I could walk in and, and just kind of a sounding
down your
board.
grandiose plan.
Yeah, and just help us out with that, and then I can stand in front of a town meeting and talk for 45 minutes, an hour, and say this is why we should do X, Y, and Z. But if I've got a group of citizens that I can sit down with and really go over the nuts and bolts and really dive deeper, far deeper into why we should be doing X, Y, and Z, that gives, I'm not gonna waste the board's time with that, you know, you guys are busy enough as it is, but if I've got a group of citizens that are dedicated for that purpose, and I can say, hey, this is why we should be doing this, these are the reasons, and you guys tell me if I'm crazy or not, and you know, in the great world, the citizen committee says, oh no, we understand what you're doing, the buy-in, and they've got buy-in to that, that then helps go into the town, because there's more than just the select board members saying yay or nay to this. It's also this board advisory committee saying, hey, we've listened, we've spoken with the fire chief, we've spoken to EMS director, we understand the reasons why. It just gives us the opportunity to share ideas, you know. It almost transitions to when one of us needs a new truck, that almost transitions to a truck committee and tempers the you know, Sean likes to spend some money, and the next truck that needs to be replaced is gonna be, well, probably a tanker. Okay, so what are we doing? Are we doing a commercial? You know, what are the benefits to that? And that committee can take that role on. And now you don't have a bunch of firefighters that are saying, oh, the truck's gonna be a custom chassis, it's gonna be red, it's gonna do all this stuff, and then you end up with a turtle that engine 4 turns into. And you've got this committee that could kind of say, hey, do we really need that? Do we really need that? Should we? And that just helps us out down the road. That's the idea behind this, is to give us.
I think it could really help, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I see it as a sounding board,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yep.
Well, it would work in the sense, like, if we'd had this type of committee, actually, listen to Brian, if we'd had this type of committee a year ago, we could have tasked them with, hey, find out what the best solution to EMS staffing is. You know, what's everybody else doing? You know?
So, yeah.
We're already behind the 8 ball, so it's our opportunity to catch up.
Yeah.
Well, right, so for me, there's two things. First of all, I don't have a problem with any of that. To be honest with you, I do have a problem with the budget part, and I'll tell you why. Because it ends up becoming like a budget committee, so I can see it going the other way. So you get some people on the committee, no, we don't agree with the leaders at all, and so I look at Wisconsin's newspaper, and I see the budget committee recommends, the department head recommends, and the select board. I mean, I don't think the fire truck thing, I get it, it's a capital expense, it's research, and I agree with all that, and I agree with what you just said, makes sense. I do not agree with the budget part, though. I just think that, I don't know, for me, that's just our job, and I can see that getting really messed up in one or two ways, you know, but that's just me. The other thing is, I don't think this, I do think this committee would be valuable. I don't think it's gonna be valuable between now and town meeting, though. I just don't know there's any way that anything's gonna get.
Not this year.
No, exactly. But I do think that all the things you've said, I just don't, I guess I look at these other towns and I think, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to transition to a budget committee, but I see these budget committees where all they do is fight. You get 2 or 3 people that don't want to spend any money or do or don't, and it's just like.
Well, Jason, just to sort of counter a little bit of what you just said, I think that the budgeting part of this is largely, you know, like, for example, I've been doing a lot of research on what other towns are doing, strategies that they've used to reduce the cost of staffing, or partnering with other towns, and sort of the relative cost of providing ambulance service. And that's really something a committee like this should do, to sort of bring new ideas, new possibilities to the table, not necessarily to be the ones that dictate the budget or propose the budget, because I would still view them as an advisory committee to the select board, and would say, hey, you know, we've got problems with deepening our bench of EMS providers. Let's brainstorm ways of fixing that, and there might be money involved with that.
Oh, well, what you just said, I agree with.
Okay.
In other words, what you're saying is researching different options of different ways. Yeah, but to me, that's not the same as budgeting. And budgeting is, you know, he proposes $300,000, and the budget committee says, no, we only want to spend $220,000.
I was sort of thinking of the numbers part as in very broad strokes.
Yeah, okay, that's right.
That's what I exactly what Tom said, you know, if, say, I want, or I think that we should buy this piece of equipment, and the budget advisory committee says, well, you know, they're the sounding board to say, yeah, do you really need that, and such. That's the only budgeting piece I thought, not
Right.
a.
Okay, that's how I would have.
I
I
request
think
this.
it's
Yeah.
you know, they could be brought into the conversation when, you know, when you do fire and EMS day for the budgeting process.
Right.
You could say,
Okay,
public safety committee, what, you want to come in and be a reference that we can use while we go through this process.
The way you're explaining it's not the way I was taking it, so I understand. I was thinking more like the.
Well, that was my greatest concern.
Yeah.
When I saw the word budget, because
Yeah, I mean,
I
having a
don't want to get into a
budget-
situation like Wiscasset.
Right,
Some of the other
Yeah,
local
no.
towns where they have a budget committee, the selectmen and the department head. The department head has one figure, the budget committee has another figure, and the selectmen have another figure, and then it's World War III,
Battle,
trying
yeah.
to figure out who's right, who's wrong.
Right, so does that make more sense?
It does, the way you explained it, no, I agree. I was, David, I work in a lot of towns, and I hear that too, it's like, oh, our budget committee, or
I
this.
just think we need to have that made clear when we do look at job description.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly
he
what-
has a,
What the purpose of this committee is.
Right.
Yeah, well, I think I would actually reword this.
Yeah, that's what I was
a little
hoping.
bit, because the way that the mission is worded now regarding the budget is the committee shall coordinate with the public safety department to develop the annual budget for this department.
That's the
To
part.
select board for review, but I mean,
Yeah.
maybe we should just delete that.
How about you just said that they would review budget requests?
I don't even think.
Yeah.
Delete the whole section.
Yeah, I think.
That's why I brought it up, because.
I sort of think that maybe having the budget thing in here is not really necessary.
Right.
Because I sort of view this committee as, again, like sort of an instrument of the select board. Say, hey, we got this problem, you guys go help solve this, and come back with us with some ideas.
Just like the
Yeah,
conservation.
no, I agree, Tom, that's what for me, that was my,
I'd be
My
okay
idea.
with that.
yeah, no, I would be okay with
So
that.
can we start, so
Now, this could be what, a 5-person committee with 2 alternates or something?
five what?
Well, I had proposed that, because that's what they all are, right?
Five and two.
Most of them, 5 with 2 alternates,
Yeah.
And,
with staggered terms.
and in addition to the
If that's
5,
necessary.
Actually, probably they wouldn't even need alternates, because all they need would be a quorum of 3 to do anything, so just 5.
Just 5 with
Five,
no alternates.
yeah. My experience over the 40-some years I've been involved in town government, if you get a committee over 5 people, every person you add, you slow the committee down. You get a committee of 12 people, you're gonna get nothing done.
but it's 5 plus somebody
So-
from fires.
Right,
and
and
select board.
so I agree with you, David, so why don't we just make it 5,
Right.
then plus the ex officio
Right.
experts, so somebody that each of you would appoint to sit on that, come to the meetings, basically.
Just to give them the expertise. I mean, they may not know what a defibrillator is, right? Or they may not, when you say air compressor, they may be thinking they something to pump up an air tire, a truck tire, and why is it gonna cost $26,000 to pump up a truck tire? I can buy one of Sears for half that, or whatever, So you would want, you guys would each want a representative on there to try to explain exactly what they're talking about.
So shall I just redistribute this proposed charter with that budget thingy deleted?
Yep.
And we'll go with that?
Yep.
Okay.
They'll do.
I think Marla might be interested.
Okay.
Great.
You guys good with that?
Do we want to vote on the committee tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or do we want to wait for the reworking?
No, I think we can, I'm okay with
With that amendment, we can probably vote on it.
Okay.
So 5 members, so the charter I circulated, remove the alternates and just be 5 plus the ex officios.
Yep.
And then delete the number 2 budget mission line.
Okay. Okay. Motion to set up a committee as described. Is that why?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right. Those in favor? Okay.
Awesome.
It'll probably, they won't be up and cranking in time for this year's budget, but they'll be around for next year.
We just voted that he was a select board representative. Did we do that? Tom, was it?